Hello everyone, A.M.R. Weather here, and today we'll be discussing everything about Tropical Storm Debby. First, looking at the sea surface temperatures, they are piping warm. Where it just emerged off north of Cuba, it is 30 degrees, and then around the Big Bend, it's going to move into hotter areas, 31, 32 degrees. That could cause rapid intensification, so everyone is going to have to be on a lookout for the system when it makes landfall in Florida. Not only that, but in South Carolina and in Georgia, where the models are saying, look at that, 29, maybe some spots 30 even. So y'all have to be careful with this system. Looking at the models, this is what the GFS is saying. Making landfall as a strong Cat 1, maybe a weak Cat 2 in Florida. Coming back and making landfall as the same thing, a strong Cat 1 or Cat 2 in Georgia and South Carolina. Even though that is not that major, it can cause major things like wind, rain, flooding, and storm surge, so y'all will have to be on the lookout. Going into the European, it's agreeing with it, but weaker on the Florida side. You can see it makes landfall as a strong tropical storm. And then it goes off, kind of curves, and makes landfall in South Carolina as a strong Cat 2. And then lastly, we're going to take a look at the Canadian. Let's see what the Canadians have to say. So they are saying that it will make landfall as a weak Cat 1 in Florida and just stay inland, which is good and bad because it will cause more flooding that way, but it will no longer strengthen. Looking at the wind shear, you can still see when this system forms, it is reflecting that wind shear. So it is going to have no problem intensifying at all. Looking at the rainfall models, let's bring this in all the way. This is for, I'm pretty sure, the next week. Yes, it is. Look at some spots in Florida, 14 inches there. In some spots in Georgia and South Carolina, the brightest yellows, that's 24 inches. That is massive flooding, and that could cause major flooding issues. So if any of you live around there, like, be prepared. Maybe get some sandbags or anything that will help with the flooding. Here's what it looks like. It finally wrapped itself up and got a low circulation earlier this morning, or last night actually, and now since those clouds have been inducing winds of tropical storm force, it got the name Debby. So this is our fourth storm, or fourth system, if you will, of the 2024 season, and let's see what it'll have to bring. Here we go into the cone. Look, making landfall as a hurricane in the Big Bend. Does it remind you of a system we had last year, an I name? Idalia, yeah, it made landfall right around the same area. So that system is going to pound those same areas just as Idalia did a year ago, but it won't be as strong. So that's good. And then you see it have it curving off into the Atlantic and going straight north, making landfall as a strong tropical storm in South Carolina. Here's the wind speeds. You can see some parts of Cuba still getting tropical storm force winds, and the Keys, and probably some parts of the Florida Peninsula, the southern side, soon. Here's the storm surge. This is what they're saying now. On the very southern coast of Florida, 1 to 3 feet. Charlotte Harbor, all the way up to Tampa Bay, 2 to 5. And then look at those upper ones, 3 to 5 around Apalachicola. And, gosh, I don't know where any towns are. Around Cedar Key, I would imagine, those other yellow parts. And then look at that orange, 4 to 7 feet of storm surge. That is massive. So you guys are going to have to pay attention if you live in any areas around there, like Perry or Cedar Key. And lastly, we're going to look at their official rainfall map. Look at that. Some parts of nearly all of the coastline of Georgia and South Carolina, 12 inches, if not 16. And some scattered parts of 12 inches in Georgia and Florida. So y'all are going to have to be on a lookout. This is massive rain amounts. This can cause heavy flooding. So this is a major event. And lastly, I didn't mean to say lastly last time. This is the ocean heat content. You can see those blues is definitely enough to sustain the system. And over there into the Atlantic side, you can actually see those greens and yellows. That is way more favorable. So this will definitely strengthen a lot. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel and let people know.